Hello, everypony. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm bored. Let's read a story! This story is called Get Lost in a Book. It's apparently about Twilight wanting to read, and no one's letting her. So, once it loads up, there we go. So, yeah, sit back, enjoy, and without further ado, get lost in a book. Drippy Hooves trotted down the street, mailbag slung over her shoulder and her thoughts occupied by visions of muffins. She was almost done with her rounds. Next, she'd pick up Dinky, stop by Sugar Cube Corner for treats, and then retire to her humble abode to bask in a sweet, delicious ecstasy of baked blueberries. Her last stop was in front of her, the massive hollowed-out tree that was Ponyville's library. As she approached the structure, one of Derpy's off-centered eyes caught something in the library's window. She turned her head to focus on it, but only caught the barest glimpse of a purple blur. With a shrug, she continued up to the mailbox and reached into her bag for the package she was delivering. When she looked up again, a purple-hued unicorn was inches away, leaning forward eagerly so that her face was almost pressed against Derpy's. The unicorn's eyes were distressingly wide and her irises disturbingly tiny. The package dropped from the startled male pony's mouth. Derpy said. Is that it? Twilight Sparkle asked, focusing her intense gaze on the package. Is that book 6 of the Equestrinox series? The greatest fantasy epic ever written? The book I've been waiting 10 years for? Derpy said. Finally, I'll find out what happens to Blazing Sword. Twilight crowd hugging herself in excitement. And if Emerald Sky's plans to seize the throne will come to fruition, and if poor heartbroken Janty Toon will ever find her long-lost love. Derpy said. Oh please tell me that's what this is. Twilight's eyes went even wider and her lips trembled profusely. Derpy said. Maybe? The package was enveloped in a purple glow. It levitated off the ground quickly, the plain paper wrapping torn away and chucked into the street without a second thought. She just littered. Inside was a thick hardcover tome. Its white cover was etched with silver run of ancient Pegasi design. Gold letters in a matching font read, For Crowns and Country. It is! The unicorn squealed. In a flash, she and her prize were back inside the library. The door slamming shut behind them. Have a nice day! Derpy called lamely. Spike! Twilight called as she pranced upstairs, book floating along behind her. Come here and bring the checklist! The young dragon was already waiting for her when she got there, scrolling quill in hand. Ready! Okay, the unicorn said with a smile. Equestrinox Book 6, For Crown and Country. Spike marked the scroll with a flourish. Check. Conveniently placed sacks that won't get crumpled on my bed. Check. He motioned to a basket piled high with various fruits, mostly apples. Enough water to keep me from getting dehydrated. Check. I think. Paper, ink, and quill so I can write down passages I really like. Check. Pillow arranged to comfort and to minimize neck strain. Check. Bandages in case I get a paper cut. Spike scratched his head. Check, but aren't you going to be using magic? You can't be too careful. Fire extinguisher in case I turn the page so fast it causes a spark? Check, the dragon said with a roll of his eyes. Great! Twilight exclaimed cheerfully. Then I think I'm ready to get started. Thanks, Spike. Please make sure no one disturbs me today. I feel like this one might actually be good and might not be stupid like the other ones I've read. Two Peas in a Pod and Scooby's Parents. Those were so stupid. Not a problem, Twilight, Spike said with a thumbs up. Finally, some peace and quiet, he muttered as he headed downstairs. The unicorn didn't even wait for him to leave before she pounced on her bed, falling comfortably into the expertly arranged cluster of pillows. Her magic brought the book in front of her, and with a sigh of contentment, she opened it and turned to the first page. Blazing Sword struggled to ignore the pain in his forelegs as he started in defiance at the griffin responsible. Something slammed into the upstairs patio. Twilight jumped, flinging the book away in surprise. A moment later, the door into her room opened, revealing a mildly battered Rainbow Dash. Twilight! The rainbow-hued Pegasus called. I need your help! Twilight glanced at her fallen book, then grimaced and nodded. Of course, Dash. What's going on? I need to know what I'm doing wrong. I was reading the Daring Do book I borrowed, and in it she pulls off this totally awesome move, and it sounds like something I could do in real life, but I just can't get it to work. The unicorn thought for a moment. The double-barreled corkscrew spiral bomb? Exactly! Dash, you know the mayor who writes those isn't actually a Pegasus. Rainbow shook her head. I almost got it, Twi. Just watch me and use your big old brain to analyze and stuff. Fine, the unicorn said with a sigh. She followed her friend out to the patio and watched as Dash launched herself into the sky, building momentum for a minute before throwing herself into the ridiculously complicated move. She did, indeed, almost have it down, but she just couldn't pull out of the spiraling corkscrew in time to avoid turning it into a literal bomb. Twilight winched in sympathy as Dash hit the nearby river with an explosive splash. I think you spiraled a bit slower, but you'd be able. I think if you spiraled a bit slower, you'd be able to pull it off in time, she told her dripping friend as she returned. Yeah, you're probably right. Thanks, Twi. Anytime, Rainbow. Twilight raised her hooves to shield herself as Dash took off again, leaving most of the moisture on her coat behind. With a disgruntled sigh, the unicorn turned to her room, levitating a towel to wrap around her now drenched mane. She reached to her fortress of Pillowtude. Never heard that one before. She returned to her fortress of Pillowtude, the book rising in front of her once more. You should never have come here, the griffin snarled. You are a fool to seek the lost orbs of balance. It is sacred to my people, and we will never... Twilight, I'm sorry, came Spike's voice. A moment later, the bedroom door slammed open, revealing an equestrian figure in a suit of period-accurate plate mail. Hark, yon Twilight Sparkle, the pony exclaimed in a booming, dramatic squeak. Prayeth wilt thou joineth me in celebration this eve? Oh, that's Pinky, I think. Hark, yon Twilight Sparkle, the pony exclaimed in a booming, dramatic squeak. Pray thee wilt thou joineth me in celebration this eve? Twilight tilted her head, regarding the intruder in confusion. Pinky? The armor-clad pony lifted the visor of the helmet, revealing the pink face and unruly mane of Pinkamena Diana Pie. I'd like to say Diana. I know it's Diane, but I like Diana better. So it's Pinkamena Diana Pie. It's not scary, like cupcakes. Hi, Twilight! What are you doing? Well, I'm glad you asked. See, I was on my way to invite you to Gummy's halfway birthday party, because it's halfway to his next birthday, you see, when I ran into Derpy Hooves, and she told me she delivered you the book, and you were really, really excited about it, and called it the greatest epic fantasy of all time, and I figured, hey, Twilight really likes sword and sorcery stuff, so maybe I can dress up like the knight, and then she'll be really impressed and totally accept the invitation, even though she probably really wants to read her book, and she's such a really, really good friend, and that she'll appreciate the effort, and won't leave me and Gummy hanging, because we really like having her around at parties, because she's really funny, even when she's grouchy. Heck, maybe especially while she's grouchy. So I dressed up and came here to give you an invitation. Twilight blinked at her friend. But where'd you get the armor? Oh, I know a guy who knows a guy. She rubbed her temple with a hoof. Pinky, thank you very much for the effort, but I kind of already scheduled my day, and you know how much I hate changing plans. Please? Pinky asked, her head stretching much further forward than it should have been able to. Her face twisted into a vivid exaggeration of puppy dog eyes. Pinky, Twilight sank into her pillows in defeat. Fine, Pinky, I'll be there. Yay! The pink pony cried, leaping much higher than an armor-clad pony should be able to. Thanks, Twilight, see you there! She landed with a clatter of metal and then clanked her way noisily downstairs. Twilight watched her go, then let out another heavy sigh. She picked up the book again. And we will never surrender it to a pathetic, weak pony. We'll see about that, Sword growled, his horn glowing as he pulled his sword free of its sheath. I'm taking the orb. Crackham, whether you like it or not. Twilight! Someone called from outside. Oh, come on! The unicorn breathed, covering her head with the book. Twilight! Repeated the voice, a slight twang in its pronunciation. With another world-weary sigh, Twilight pushed herself off the bed and opened her window. Down below, an orange pony with a yellow mane and a weather-beaten old Stetson hat looked up at her expectantly. Twilight, awful sorry to bother you, but I got a little problem I need your help with. Of course you do, the unicorn said darkly. See, we got some kind of blight on... What? Blight? Oh. See, we got some kind of blight on some of the apples, and ain't none of us sure what it is. Even Granny Smith's plump stumped. So I was hoping you might have something in this here library that could help us figure out how in the hay to get rid of it. Spike's down there, Applejack. You could just ask him. Well, I could, but Rarity's already bugging him about something. Twilight bumped her forehoof against the window sill. Sorry. Go on in, I'll meet you downstairs. Much obliged. Muttering grumpily to herself, Twilight clomped down to the main library to find a white unicorn with an indigo mane standing... Indigo? I think it's like a dark purple. But not indigo. Like maybe a dark purple that isn't indigo. Whatever. Indigo mane standing primly in the center of the room while Spike rushed about on a rolling ladder. I know it's here somewhere, he called. Spike, I truly do appreciate your effort, but it isn't all that terribly important. I can wait. Nonsense, my lady, the little dragon interrupted in his best attempt at dashing chivalry. This is no trouble at... Whoa! He stopped as the ladder's wheels stuck suddenly and almost launched him. At all. Oh, Twilight, there you are, Rarity said, noticing her friend and turning to her. I know you're very busy, and I really do hate to impose. The purple unicorn grunted skeptically. To Rarity's quickly masked surprise. But I need to know anything and everything about silkvine spiders. Twilight quirked an eyebrow. Silkvine spiders? Spiders? The giant ones that spin webs as thick as vines? Exactly. You see, a designer colleague of mine in Canterlot recently obtained some of their webbing, and she made the most wonderful gown out of it. Not only gorgeous, but remarkably strong. And given that we are, on occasion, called into dangerous situations by Princess Celestia, I thought it would be prudent to have on hand a bit of clothing that we both... Sorry, he's yelling like an idiot. My brother. I thought it would be prudent to have on hand a bit of clothing that was both elegant and protective. You want to make us armor? Very pretty armor, yes. Okay, that actually sounds really practical. Good thinking, Rarity. She beamed. Spike, where's arachnids of the ever-free forest? I don't know, the dragon shouted back. I thought it was right here, but it's gone. Wait, didn't you? Twilight bonked her forehead. Let Fluttershy borrow it? Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Rarity. Rarity smiled, waving it off. No trouble at all, Twilight. I shall simply pay her a visit. Thank you both for your time. Bye, Spike. Bye, Rarity, the dragon said softly, watching her leave. Yeah, I bet I know what he was watching. Her hair waving back and forth. What, do you think I was going to say something else? Pervert. Okay. Okay, Twilight said with a determined nod. I'm going back to my new book now. Spike, please no more interruptions. Some pony coughed. Twilight glanced over to see Applejack standing quietly in the corner, trying to look unobstructive. She said. Oh, Applejack, I'm so sorry. Spike, grab every book you can find on agricultural mold, pests, and diseases. We've got a diagnosis to make. An hour later, the three were still going through a massive stack of illustrated books with interesting titles like Common Plant Diseases and Disease Commonly Found on Plants and Commonly Diseased Plants. Those are all the exact same thing. Common plant diseases, diseases commonly found on plants, and commonly diseased plants. Well, at least this isn't a bad story. At least it's funny. Well, not funny, but at least it's good. Twilight, her patience visibly fraying along with her hair, kept casting longing looks upstairs to where her beloved Equestrinox novel lay. Spike and Applejack didn't seem to notice, being too busy poring over the information. Rust spot? Spike offered, pointing to a picture. Nope, Applejack replied after a glance. Gold leaf? Nope. Tungsten stain? You made that one up. Nuh-uh, it's right here. Oh, wait, I think this is... Oh, this is all Spike stuff. Okay. Rust spot? Spike offered, pointing to a picture. Nope, Applejack replied after a glance. Gold leaf? Nope. Tungsten stain? You made that one up. Nuh-uh, it's right here. Well, I'll be. And nope. Guys, Twilight interrupted. I'm really, really sorry, but do you mind if I... hey, don't worry about it, Sugar Cube, Applejack assured her. Go do what you need to do. Me and Spike, he'll figure it out. Thank you, both of you, the unicorn said with genuine gratitude. She raced upstairs, throwing herself back onto her bed and levitating the book into place. Not! Come taste my steel! Blazing Sword threw himself forward, his hooves connecting with the griffin's chest as his sword came free and swung up high overhead. Kraken's eyes went wide as he realized there was nothing he could do to... Twilight! Come quick! The unicorn let out a wordless shriek of frustration. Rainbow Dash fluttering in front of her window. Looked at her in bemusement. You okay? I'm fine, Dash, Twilight growled with barely contained rage. But please, stop bothering me! Sorry. No buts. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what trick you're working on. I just want to read my book! Is that too much to ask to finish the first page? Whoa, try, calm. No! The unicorn shouted. I've been trying all day to read this. I've been waiting for it for 10 years. Dash, I planned my whole day around it. I made a checklist. Look. She unrolled the list and floated it in front of Rainbow's face. Twilight, seriously, I'm really sorry, but this is... With a snarl, Twilight magically slammed the window shut and sank deeper into her pillow, building a non-sensory fortress around her head. Distantly, she heard muffled conversation from the library below, followed by hooves stomping across the wood and the slamming of a door. Finally, sweet, blissful silence settled over the library. Finally, she sighed and returned to her book. Dodge it! The blade struck true, and the pendant around the griffin's around the griffin chieftain's neck fell into Blazing Sword's waiting hoof. Kraken stared at him in confusion until the pommel of the unicorn's sword struck him in the side of the head, sending him sprawling to an unconscious heap. A murmur rippled through the crowd. The griffins looked at each other, then at their fallen leader. Blazing Sword turned to face them, sword floating over his shoulder, a confident smirk on his face. "Who's next?" I wonder what Dash wanted, Twilight thought out loud. Probably to watch her do another stupid trick. With an ear-piercing shriek, the entire host of griffins surged forward. The unicorn leapt straight up into the air, landing atop one unfortunate soul and flattening the back of its head with a well-timed buck. The creature tumbled to the ground in a daze, but Blazing Sword was already away, leaping toward his next victim. It did sound kind of important, though. I mean, Dash can be annoying, but she wouldn't just... Nah. The unicorn's blade flashed as he danced from griffin to griffin, staying just out of reach of their razor-sharp claws and beaks. He finally hit the ground on the far side of the mob, and paused only to offer them a grin and mocking salute before he galloped off. He wasn't here to fight griffins. He was here for the orb, and he knew exactly where to find it now. Maybe I should go and ask Spike what's going on. Yeah, I'll just take a quick break. She didn't even get past the first page. Still, Twilight pushed herself away from her cushiony cocoon and headed downstairs. To her surprise, the library was entirely deserted. Sitting atop one of the various agricultural books was a short note written in Spike's hand. "Twilight, Fluttershy is in trouble in Everfree Forest. When to help, Spike." Oops. Hello, little spider friend, Fluttershy cooed. "I know you're just doing what comes naturally to you, but I'd really like it if you could let me go." The three silk-vine spiders, each the size of a pony and covered with jet black, tinted and purple markings, ignored her as they went about their work. "It's just that my special talent is working with animals, and being eaten by animals would be really embarrassing." One of the spiders paused to chitter at her, then continued wrapping the yellow Pegasus in ropes of webbing as thick as her leg. I know spiders don't really eat things, but I don't really want to, be, drank, either. Is that even a word? Even real? Drank? I don't know. A cord of webbing pulled tight across her forehead, making a lock of pink mane fall over the pony's eyes and obscuring her vision. Okay, I'm going to scream now. I hope you don't mind." The spider didn't reply, which she took as a go-ahead. Fluttershy filled her lungs, pushing against the thick webbing as she sucked in every ounce of air she could. "Eek! That's Fluttershy!" Rainbow Dash called from somewhere nearby. There was a loud boom as the Pegasus launched herself forward, leaves and loose branches rising into the air in her wake. Fluttershy tried to give a warning, but too late. Dash plunged headfirst into the thick webbing. With all her speed and momentum, she barely made a dent. The spider looked at her for a moment, then almost seemed to shrug before they started wrapping her up too. "Rainbow Dash?" Fluttershy called. "Humph," Dash replied. "Are you okay? Is your mouth stuck to the webbing? Did anybody else come with you?" "Applejack and Rarity and Pinkie Pie and Spike? But not Twilight? How come?" Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes, though Fluttershy couldn't see it. She was spared trying to respond when 3 ponies and a baby dragon wielding a tree branch stepped into the clearing. Let them go! Spike shouted, brandishing his stick. They're spiders, Sugar Cube. They don't speak equestrian. Oh, Spike said, the wind going out of his sails. Regardless, Reddy interjected, what is our plan? Applejack stepped forward. I'll lasso one of them and chase him off. Reddy, you handle the one that's wrapping up Dash. Pinky, she paused. Where'd you get the armor? I know a guy who knows a guy. Pinky's voice echoed from inside her helmet. Right. Well, you try to get the third one. Spike, you're in charge of getting the girls down. Got it, Applejack. All right then, let's do this! With a mighty battle cry, the four charged forward. Applejack whipped her lasso around, expertly looping it around one spider's body and yanking it from the web with a sharp tug. Reddy levitated a hoof-sized rock and hurled it at another, striking it on the head and stunning it enough to make it drop to the ground. Pinky produced a blunt jousting lance and charged forward with it bared against her front shoulder, striking the third spider in the side and launching it into the forest. Spike, meanwhile, clambered up a tree near Fluttershy and began breathing a stream of greenish fire, burning the webbing away from the trapped Pegasus. She fell free a moment later, catching herself mid-fall, and Spike moved on to free Rainbow Dash. Good job, everypony! Applejack crowded as the victorious friends gathered at the center of the clearing. Spike, do try not to burn all the webs, Reddy urged. I was hoping we could save some. Rainbow Dash was spitting, trying to get the taste out of her mouth. Thanks for the warning, Fluttershy. Sorry, Dashy, she answered softly. How did you know I was in trouble? Rarity stopped by your place, Applejack answered. Found you gone, with the book of yours open to the part of the silk-bound spiders. Angel pantomimed that you had gone into the forest to befriend one of these things, Rarity added. So she found Dash, and Dash rounded all of us up, and we came here to save you. Oh my, I'm so sorry to have caused you all so much trouble, Fluttershy said meekly. Guys, Spike warned. Ain't no trouble at all, Sugar Cube. It was kinda trouble, Rainbow Dash growled, still whipping her mouth. Guys, Spike repeated. But where's Twilight? She's got her nose wedged in some book. She's got her nose wedged in some book, Dash growled. Wouldn't even listen to me when I tried to tell her what happened. Guys! Spike shouted, tugging Applejack's tail. The ponies turned, then looked around them. The trees around the clearing were full of silk-vine spiders, dozens of them. As the group took notice, the creatures began chitting hungrily, saliva dripping from their mandibles. Applejack groaned. Hey! Be okay, I'm so sorry! Twilight panted as she galloped through the everfree forest. Horn glowed as she used her magic to illuminate her friend's trail. They'd been traveling as fast as they could manage through the overgrown path and patches of deep mud. They'd been slowed by the treacherous undergrowth, but even moving at top speed, Twilight still had a lot of ground to make up. A high, clear, perfectly formed screen split the silent forest air. Rarity! Twilight ducked her head and increased her pace, ignoring cuts and scratches she was receiving from the thick vegetation. She burst into a clearing lined with thick rope-like webs and filled the capacity with giant black and purple spiders. At the center of the advancing horde stood her friends, back to back and ready to make a desperate last stand. Twilight's horn flared. Hey! She shouted, getting the creature's attention. Twilight! Shouted all 5 ponies and 1 dragon in unison. The chittering spiders nearest her turned and began to advance. The unicorn let them come, then narrowed her eyes in concentration and suddenly appeared next to her friend. Grab on, she told them, and they each put a hoof, or claw, on her flank. With another instant burst of concentration, the ponies appeared at the far side of the clearing again, much to the spider's consternation. Consternation? Whatever. Run! Twilight shouted Run! Twilight shouted, though she herself was too dizzy from effort to do so. Instead, Pinky bucked her onto her armored back, cried, Onward! No, wait, what? Instead, Pinky bucked her onto her armored back, cried, Onward! And led the charge out of the forest. The spiders gave chase. A black chitinous wave of creepy crawlies. Oh, a black chitinous wave of creepy crawlies. But the ponies were too fast for them. They emerged from the forest half an hour later, battered, panting, and exhausted. Pinky made it a few steps further before suddenly collapsing onto her side with a loud clank. Twilight, back on her hooves, moved to open the pink mare's helmet. Pinky gave her a grateful look and gulped in the fresh air. Shoot, Twilight, I reckon you couldn't time that any better if you'd tried, Applejack gasped. Spike slid tiredly off her back, rubbing his sore hindquarters. Yeah, the purple unicorn said vaguely. I'm so sorry, everypony. I should have listened to Dash. No kidding, Dash grumbled. I was just so determined to read my book that I let my priorities get mixed up. I should have remembered that no matter how excited I am for something, and no matter how long I've waited for it, I can't abandon my friends when they need me. Pinky suddenly leapt out of her armor, leaving the suit somehow intact on the ground. Oh, a moral! This is totally going to be a letter to Princess Celestia, isn't it? I can't wait to hear that little clarinet. Oh. I can't wait to hear that little clarinet song while you write. Everyone looked at her oddly. What? You guys don't notice that? I'm sorry, girls, Twilight continued after a pause. Can you forgive me? Sure, Sugar Cube, said Applejack, putting a foreleg around the unicorn's shoulder. You came to your senses in time. None of us got hurt. Rarity nodded. And I managed to get a few strands of the silk-fine spider webbing to work with. Well, worth the price of a little scare. Oh, well worth the price of a little scare. Of course, next time it might be nice if you listen to your friends when they're trying to tell you something important instead of shouting at them, added a disgruntled Rainbow Dash. Sorry, Rainbow, Twilight said meekly. I'll let it slide this once. And I'm sorry I went into the forest alone and almost got eaten by spiders, piped in Fluttershy. I probably should have told somebody what I was doing. I'm really glad you came to visit, Rarity. The white unicorn grinned. Actually, darling, I just needed your book so I could do the next exact same thing. Every pony burst out laughing, gathering in a group hug as the sun began to set behind them. Spike stretched his tiny frame with a huge yawn. Great party, huh, Twilight? Gummy should get sort of close to a new birthday every week. Technically, he kind of does. Oh yeah, I should tell Pinky. Please don't, Twilight said with a tired smile. Spike, could you take a letter? Sure thing, he replied, already rummaging for quill and parchment. Dear Princess Celestia, today I learned that no matter how excited you may be about something new, whether it's a story or a toy or a game, you can't let yourself get so absorbed with it that you shut your friends out of your life. While you're lost in a world of fantasy and imagination, real things could be happening to ponies you care about, and they might really need your help. Indulging in a hobby is fine, but not at the expense of those you love. Your faithful student, Twilight Sparkle. I think Princess Celestia will like that one. No, I think Princess Celestia will like that one, Spike said as the scroll dissolved away. Anything else you need me for, Twilight? The purple unicorn shook her head. Thank you for all your help today, Spike. Go ahead and get some sleep. I'm just going to stay up and read a little. She settled into her bed and found the most comfortable position she could. She levitated for Crown and Country up to her, opened it to the first page again, and let her eyes slide shut, and the book drifted gently down to the covers. Spike cocked his head at her, then smiled and placed the novel on her nightstand. "Good night, Twilight," he said, pulling the blanket up around her. "I guess you can try again tomorrow." And the end. That was a really good story. I like that one. It's a little long. That would be, actually, felt like a real, I was just stretching. That felt like it would be a real episode. That would be a great episode. Except, the name could change. But yeah, other than that, really great story. Link in the description if you want to read it for yourself. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Brony on!